Hello my friends, John LaRuffa here with another Straight Up Solo. And in this episode, we're going to take a look at Terraforming Mars, the dice game. I'm going to show you how it plays solo, talk to you about the conditions for winning, and show you a couple of turns, and then let you know what I think. Let's get started. Okay folks, and as usual, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. And if you have, I do truly appreciate it. Thank you so much. So, this is the game about a quarter of the way through, maybe a little bit less actually, give or take. And what you're doing is you're trying to complete all the terraforming tracks as usual in the solo mode. And if you do, then you can score. But if you don't, then you lose immediately. And the terraforming tracks are getting that all the way up to +8, getting this all the way over to 16, and placing all the oceans. This is a complete dice-based game with cards that you're going to buy with the dice, okay? So what's going to happen is anytime you acquire dice from a card, that are from a bonus over here, you immediately roll it and get that resource. And the dice are always sitting in a resource fashion here. Anytime you build one of these cards with a die that's up here in the upper right, that's going to increase your production value so that when you do a production turn, you roll that, but you don't get it right away. And then you also will be playing a bunch of these red cards that will be giving you a one-time situation, bonus, whatever. And here's a couple of them that I haven't played yet that are just sitting here. So like for instance, this one says I could, if I spend these resources and play the card, I would place a forest next to 4 empty areas someplace. And when you place a forest, you score some points for doing that, which is written, I thought it was written over here, maybe not. But a forest is worth 2 points plus, yeah, I'm sorry, it's on the back. So 2 points plus 1 victory point per adjacent city, and you raise your oxygen 1. So you want to do that to finish one of your terraforming tracks. Your oceans are worth 2 points as well. And as a matter of fact, I should have gotten 2 points when I did that over there. And then also cities can be worth points, and they can be worth more if you have adjacent forests. So it's very similar to other Terraforming Mars games in that regard with how you're scoring points. The other thing is anytime you go up on this track or this track, like I said, you score points for that as well. Now, what can you do in your turn? So what you're going to always do is you're going to take a support action first, which will either be to roll a die of any color you want for free, or to spend a die of any color you want to turn another die you've already rolled to a specific side, or to spend a die to draw 2 cards. You can have as many cards as you want in your hand, but when you do a production turn, you have to discard down to 5. Or you can discard down anything and then draw back up to 5. So you're going to do that support action first, and then you're going to do a main action. Now, sometimes you can't do anything on your main action, so what you can basically do is take another support action, and that might help for setting you up for a better main action. But the majority of the time in the main action, you're going to most likely be playing cards. And you spend whatever the resources are in the upper part of the card to actually play those, okay? So for instance, you can see right here that I would need to spend 2 of the uncommon sides of the green dice and 1 common blue side to play that card. The other things you can do is you can play 3 red dice in the Celsius side of it to raise your temperature by 1. You can play 3 water dice to put an ocean down. You can play 4 leaf dice to build a forest, 3 city dice to build a city, and 3 of the money to get 2 points. And sometimes that can be very helpful, especially if you are looking at how many turns you have left and you're like, I just need to get a little bit further on these tracks to be able to successfully terraform. Obviously, doing it with the cards is a little more efficient, but there are ways to do it so it's not just like, well, I didn't get the cards, I can't do anything. Now, I do think, just in general, that I probably need to do this a little bit more because I have yet to win the game. I always fail on the terraforming, and that's probably because I'm relying solely on catching cards in most cases. However, it's not easy to particularly gather up not only 3 or 4 of a specific die, but to always get them on the same side without devoting many turns to it. Now you have to win the game in 50 turns, and if you don't, you will lose. Okay, so let me just go ahead and give you, and just final scoring things. So there are some milestones that vary depending on where they are. And when the turn marker crosses over to the 17th turn, you're going to remove 1. To the 21st turn, you're going to move another. To the 25th turn, you're going to remove the final one. So you have a limited amount of time to kind of get those, simulating the race for it would be in an opponent situation. Also, you can get 5 points at the end of the game, or 3 points if you get close. If you've spent a certain number of these resources in cards, and you can look at that when you look at how you've splayed out your cards here to see how much you spent. You need to spend less of those if they're rare, a medium amount if they're uncommon, and most if they're common. So for instance here, since you're not competing with anybody, it would be 10 of the common ones for 5 victory points, or 9 for the third place, 8 for the uncommon, 7, and 6 or 5 for the rare. All right? So that is basically the situation. Let's go ahead and play a couple turns and show you how it looks. So right now, these are the resources I have already stocked in my stock. And I'm closest to getting this one right here. So in the first support turn, I'm going to roll this and hope for a water. And I got a water. So then on my actual main action, I'm going to spend all 3 of these resources to build this card right here. And that's my turn. I advance to turn number 14. Now I've got a couple more of these. And I'm a little low, but I also low on a lot of things really. But I also know that pretty soon, if I don't get one more of these cards out, I'm going to miss my opportunity to get this. And if I play this one, I can. This one gives me 4 points at the end of the game if I've built 4 cards that give victory points at the end of the game, and I've built 3 so far that are hidden in here, and that would be my 4th. So that's what I kind of want to do. But my problem is I have none of those sides showing on anything. So to get there, I have to kind of focus on it, but I will, because maybe it's worth it, especially since I need some more water for terraforming. So what I'll do is I'm going to try to risk it for the biscuit in my support turn here and roll this and hope for a water. And I didn't. I got a uncommon lightning bolt, so that doesn't help. So then instead of taking a main action to do that, again, to do something else, I'm going to take a main action. All right, I got an idea here. I'm just changing my mind. I'm going to take a main action, actually, to do another support action. I'm going to discard this green to turn this to a Celsius. That way, when the time comes, I can, for this next turn, well, first, I'm going to do a support action here where I am going to dump this down here and hope for the best. Get a star? I did. I got a star. But on this main action, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to spend these 3 to bump this up, get 2 points, and I get a Celsius die also there. So I'm closer, but not quite. Now I've crossed over this 5 spot, so I have some bonus cards I get to choose, and the bonus I want to do right here is this one. This is great. This is perfect. It's exactly what I need. So I'm going to get this card, and I've advanced this. Boy, I hope I did. That is, honestly, it's so funny. That is one of the toughest things about the solo for me, is just remember to advance this stupid cube. I don't think I did. So I'm going to advance it right now, because that's a turn marker. And on my turn, I'm going to first do a support action where I'm going to roll a die, and it's going to be any die, but let's just do this one. You'll see what I'm going to do here. All right. Then I'm going to play this card right here as a bonus. Now, I'm going to be short on this. Oh, well, I didn't do it right. So what this allows me to do, this is a blue card, which I can spend at any time as a support action. So I ran out of time, but it would have been nice. I just won't be able to get to this one, so oh well. So I played that card. If there was something else I could do, I don't know if it would have worked. Yeah, I wouldn't have had time. So either way, I played the blue card. That was my main action. I did the support action by rolling. Now, I don't have access to this anymore, so oh well. Don't get the 4 points. My turn again, though. I am going to use this. I'm going to flip it right here to discard this, and that will let me change 2 dice into whatever face I want. And I'm going to make it this, and I'm going to make it this. So that's a very helpful card. And then for my main action, I'll spend these, and I'll put this up, unfortunately, just a day late and $1 short. So that lets me build a an ocean. I'm going to put the ocean over here. That's going to allow me to roll a gray die right away. And then gives me 2 points. All right. Now, I have this token, which can count for anything. And I've only got 1 card left, and I've only got 1 of these. So that doesn't give me a lot of options. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a production turn. In a production turn, I discard any dice I have over 3. Well, I only have 1. I discard any cards I want. Well, I want this card. So then I draw my hand up to 5. So let's go ahead and draw up to 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right. And then I take my production by looking at all the dice I can roll from production, which is 2 gray, a blue, 2 red, and a green. And I refresh any cards that are blue that I've used throughout the game or throughout the round. And then this is what I have to work with now. And that's the whole turn, so I don't get to spend anything, it's just the whole turn. And now I can look and see, okay, well, interesting enough, I've got some of these cards. These are going to give me a lot of production in the yellow. But this allows me to, if I wanted, get some, turn in some blues for points, which would be kind of cool if it was, I was racing for the score. But the fact of the matter is that I fail at terraforming a lot. So I don't know if that really makes a lot of sense for me to do. But when I look at what I have, and this is a lot of the game, okay, what do I have that matches what I have over here? And can I get lucky? Well, I have one of these, and I have one of these, but I do not have, so that would be for this, but I don't have a yellow. So what I can do is I can use this instead to purchase this, which I will do just to demonstrate it. So on my turn, I guess the first thing I'll do is a support action. I'll roll a yellow, maybe I'll get lucky. And I did. So my support action was there. Then I can spend this for this. This gives me a blue action that I can use later at any time. But it is a main action because it's a red arrow. And there you have it. Okay, advance this. And that's kind of how it goes. So basically, you're going to play 50 turns. You're going to try your best to score points along the way, but really, you're going to try your best to maximize this track, fill this track up, and place all the oceans. If you could do that, then you can score and get some points. See how you did. If you don't do that, well, you fail. All right, let's go ahead and let me know, or I'll let you know what I think. So that's Terraforming Mars dice game in a solo mode. Now, what do I think about this game? Well, there's a ton of luck involved. And there's no doubt about it, every game that has dice has luck. But in this game, it seems like there isn't quite as much to mitigate the luck because everything you do requires you to spend your actions, your support actions or whatever. And if you really get unlucky, you're going to spend a lot of support actions fixing those dice rolls to help you get what you need. And ultimately, it's just going to, you're going to lose the game. There's just no doubt about it. So there isn't a lot you can do there to mitigate it, I think. Luck mitigation is part of the game, but if it keeps happening to you, like any dice game, you're going to lose. There's just no way. You didn't run out of time. So what you have to ask yourself, I think, about this is, first, do you like the Terraforming Mars theme? Do you like a very challenging solo to win, to even score? And do you like dice games as far as I roll it and anything can happen? Because for the most part, the dice manipulation is really limited to rolling fresh or spending a die to turn it to exactly what you want. There is no way to re-roll any dice in this game. So you can't just grab a bunch of dice, re-roll them. There's none of that. And as you would think, there is, obviously you've got to get a good engine going. You've got to build a lot of dice to be able to have bigger turns. And the more dice you have, the less luck you're going to be prone to because you're rolling more. But it is a game that has probably a higher amount of luck than I would usually like in my solo games. Now, that being said, I still think it's a lot of fun because I like to roll dice and see what happens. It is a very, I would say, it's a light medium game, but it's very hard to win. I don't think that the choices in this game are ridiculously cerebral by any means, because you kind of look and see, well, what do I have based on what I can do with it? And I probably don't want to spend too much time flipping things around and taking risks. I better build what I have and try to get luckier the next time, so to speak. And maybe that'll be all right for you, or maybe it'll be a turn off. That's up to you to decide. I do like the fact that to play it solo is like one big puzzle. There is the time limit, of course, to 50, and that time limit also takes away the awards that you can get that can help you score. But for the most part, this is a very solitaire game, and it's very solitaire in its nature, even if you play multiplayer, which is fine. I don't mind that one bit. So that's what I would say. You've got to ask yourself, do you like the theme of Terraforming Mars? Do you like dice games? Do you like a fair amount of luck? And if the answer to all that is yes, then you're going to find something that's enjoyable here. There's tons of cards, right? There's a lot of cards. You're not going to see you're not even going to see a quarter of the cards in one game. So it's not going to get repetitive to see the same amount of cards over and over again. There are two sides of the board which have just a little bit of a difference in regards to covering up the territories and placing the ocean tiles and such. And there are all sorts of different effects that your cards can do. So for instance, I had a card that let me place that tree on normally an ocean space, right? There's cards that let you put things where they don't belong. There's cards that let you do things. All the cards are varied and they're fun to play. But I wouldn't say anything here is particularly deep or particularly novel or new. So you got to keep that in mind before you take the plunge in this one. Now, I did get the Kickstarter version, so it does have the promotions in there and has the extra corporations. So there's a lot of variety baked in, but I think the essence of this game is the same every time you play it. You're going to be trying to do the same thing with similar types of strategies. It's just it's a big tactical puzzle. And if you like that, you'll like this game. If you won't, you'll be disappointed and you should avoid it. I personally don't mind the Terraforming Mars theme. As a matter of fact, you can see the Ares expedition up here, right? And that game has a very similar feel, but with different mechanics. And if I had to choose one or the other, it'd be a difficult choice, but I think that is I would say that's the better game because I like the mechanics more. And it's definitely a more difficult choice of a game to make because of how you're doing it with the cards and everything else. But it depends if you want to do that. If you like dice chucking games, then this is going to be a lot like that. And I guess for the most part, you have the real specific feel of Race for the Galaxy versus Roll for the Galaxy. You see these two things in parallel here with regards to Terraforming Mars, Ares Expedition. The parallels are perfect. So maybe if you had those, you played those, you can think to yourself, okay, that is sort of like what I'm getting here. But yet this is definitely more light than Race for the Galaxy or Roll for the Galaxy because the cards don't have so many interlocking mechanisms and combos and such. So I would say that my feelings on this are mixed. I'm enjoying it. I'll enjoy it for a while, but I don't know if it'll stay in my collection forever. But that's because of my preferences. Maybe you feel differently. Don't know. But regardless, I hope I helped you make a good decision or about to make a good decision on whether it's for you or not. And however you decide to do that, you know me, I really hope that whatever you decide to do in the future, you have a fantastic time doing it. So take it easy and we'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody.